Only 3%. I'll tell you what 3% represents, and then I'll get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending August 21st, 2024. There are about 1,300 detached properties available for sale between Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. I'm only referring to detached properties. I'm only talking about the three big cities in York Region, Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. And in those, like I said, there's 13 available detached properties for sale. 40 actually sold. 40 is only about 3% of all the available detached properties available for sale. So only 3% of the detached properties available for sale are actually selling. Only 3%. That means 97% are not selling. If you were to attempt to do something and you had a 97% chance of success, you'd probably think it was in the bag. Oh, that's great odds. 97% chance of success? That's awesome. Well, in selling your detached property right now across Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham, the numbers are showing that you have a 97% chance of not selling this week. A 97% chance of failure. That's crazy. But that's what the math works out to right now. Out of 1,300 available for sale, 40 sold. That's it. The reason I'm talking about this is because it's a number that is not often looked at. What percentage are actually selling? I'm telling you, it's only 3%. And I know currently sellers are seeing very, very few showings. And if they're not seeing showings, they're not getting offers. They're sitting there. There are neighborhoods, there are pockets across York Region that normally, even earlier in the year when the market was still slow, there were pockets that you'd put up a listing and within a week or two you'd be sold. In those pockets that had a high success rate, there are properties sitting right now, 4, 5, 6 listings sitting there not selling. Lots of sellers today, or lots of would-be sellers also that are not on the market right now but are thinking of selling. A lot of sellers right now have their hopes on a very strong fall market. Their attitude is, well, it's summer, it's August. This is why it's difficult now, but August will turn things around. Maybe. If we talk about seasonality trends, yeah, we do see an uptick in activity in the fall market, usually. But an uptick also means more competition. It also means more listings. And that window might be 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. We just don't know. And lots of sellers are putting their hopes into this fall market that we really don't know how it's going to turn out. My attitude is this. If only 3% are selling, you have a 3% chance of success. When you go on the market, why do so many listings look just like the other ones? Similar type of listings, similar price points, similar descriptions, similar photos. The marketing really is lackluster. If you're about to jump into the competition pool, you have the added benefit of knowing what everybody else is doing. This is the time to figure out, before you actually go on the market, strategize, how do you stand out? If only 3% are going to sell this week, how do you become one of those 3%? So I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Who you hire matters. The marketing matters. The strategy matters. The negotiation skills of whoever you've hired matter. This is often what will separate your listing from somebody else's, your property from somebody else's. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Up here, there's a link to my calendar. Below this video in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. York region. We're going to be focused on detached properties only. Vaughan, Richmond Hill, and Markham. Average prices for York region for detached properties for the three cities I just mentioned range between almost 1.8 million to just over 2 million. Average prices. It's very expensive buying and living in York region. If we look at August 7th, week ending August 7th to now, prices, average prices anyways, seem to have come up. I'm going to talk about that for a second. We're talking sales are lower. You're going to see, we're talking about a slowdown. We're talking about August, which is typically one of the slowest months of the year. How is it that average prices were going up where before they were trending down? Well, what's happening is the more expensive properties, the higher price point properties, they're the ones that have taken the biggest beating in price. And those now are some of the ones that are being sold versus what we'll call entry level or lower price point. Now, entry level for Vaughan is still, or Richmond Hill Markham, entry level detached is still quite expensive. But the buyers of the lower price point homes, well, they're more susceptible to interest rates. And they're the ones that if they perceive that there's going to be an interest rate drop, they're backing off. So less of the lower price point properties are being sold and people buying or buyers buying in the $2, $3, $4 million price point. Well, the interest rate doesn't affect them as much. And they're coming in with a lot more money to purchase. And those sellers that are selling at those higher price point, they've got a lot more equity in the game. They're not buying with just 20% down when they buy something for $3 million, say. So there's a lot more room for them to play. And if they need to sell or want to sell, they've got more room to come down in price. And now those higher ticket properties, for those buyers in that price point, those prices have come down and they're more attractive. So that's what's happening. Some of the higher price points are being sold. We're going to start off with Vaughan. Again, detached properties only for week ending August 21. 21 detached properties were sold. 3 of those were sold at $2 million or more. Now, 21 sales, look, if we go back, say, to the beginning of June, it looks like sales kind of slowly, slightly trending down, but 21 is not that far from where we were before. 23, 24, 22, 25. So yeah, 21 could be a little lower, but not really. So sales haven't really, over the last, say, 2.5 months, they haven't really dropped that much. Average price is sitting at $1,794,000. 1,794. If I kind of look back to the beginning of summer, 1,794 kind of seems kind of average, doesn't it, compared to where prices have been. We've been higher, we've been lower, but 1.8 almost seems about average. 1,794, 7% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $1,610,000 is a 0% change versus last year. Looking at the dotted line, the 4-week moving average, well, I was saying 1,794 seems about average when we kind of look back, but it does show it's slightly trending down if we look at the dotted line, and the median price also slightly trending downwards. 21 were sold, only 19% sold at list price or more. If we look at the percentage over the last few weeks, it's It's way lower than where we were before. We were pretty consistent in somewhere around 40% or higher selling at list price or more. Now we're at 19%, 31%, 8%, 22%. So percentage selling at list price or more is much lower. 66 detached properties were listed. Available for sale, active listings, 471. So 21 sold. There's been 471 available for sale. That's just in Vaughan. Months of inventory sitting at 5.2 months of inventory, depending on which neighborhood you're shopping in Vaughan, or the other side, which neighborhood you're planning to come onto the market in, what neighborhood you're selling in. You're either going to experience a buyer's market or a balanced market. Here's Richmond Hill. 12 detached properties were sold. Those sales are coming down. Now 12 is extremely low. It's not like 21 in Vaughan is so much better. 21 is low. 12, extremely low. 5 of those sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $2,019,000. When sales are this slow, you really got to look at these numbers and know that they're being influenced one way or the other, just because the sampling of only 12 sales is a very low sampling, and the accuracy of a true average price is kind of lost when sales are so low. $2,019,000 is 13% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of $1,760 is 6% lower year over year. 12 were sold, 33% sold at list price or more. 412 active listings. We said 12 sold, but there was 412 available for sale. Months of inventory, way up there at 7.9 months of inventory. Now, 5 months of inventory and below, between 3 and 5, we say is a balanced market. Over 5, a buyer's market. We've been over 5 months of inventory in Richmond Hill for a while now. Here's Markham. 18 detached properties were sold. It seems sales on a weekly basis since the beginning of June are going down 1 or 2 per week almost. So 18 were sold. 6 of those, 1/3, sold at $2 million or more. Average sold price is $1,856,000. 1,856 is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price of 1,840, also 2% higher year over year. 18 were sold, close to, well, just under half, 44% sold at list price or more. It's very active in Markham. Well, I shouldn't say so active. There was not that many sales, but it is a bit more competitive in Markham than it is in Vaughan and Richmond Hill. 56 were listed. 356 are available for sale. Months of inventory sitting at 4.6 months of inventory. Months of inventory is increasing. Pretty much a balanced market when it comes to detached properties in Markham. Here's a quick summary. Depending on where you're shopping, you're either going to experience a buyer's market or a balanced market. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.